folks, it's all about the Bergen today, an upgrade, a new loadout configuration and just a little bit on transport. I recently decided to ditch the DPM and go with either black or green for my main pack, but after searching eBay and losing a couple of auctions, I still hadn't found a replacement. I did an overnight with a mate recently who just bought himself a new Bergen, but he'd also picked up a spare for someone else that he knew needed one. Then someone else got given a Bergen, so that meant that there was a spare pack up for grabs. On the trip I was pretty taken with the features and the build quality of the Bergen that he had, so I offered to buy it off him, but he said all he wanted for it was a few bits that I make and sell. Very generous, but I can't really be having that and him be out of pocket and me keep the money that I've made from the DPM that I sold to pay for the Bergen that I was going to get. So I've got a message for the bloke in question. Treat the missus, treat yourself, donate it to charity, whatever you want, mate. But I've got 3 little words for you. Check your PayPal. That's right, PayPal. Where are we going?
The woods.
Which woods?
I don't know. We don't know.
The classroom. How long for?
1 night, 2 nights.
1 night. And who are we going with?
Jeff.
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 Hi.
Jeff. I think you'll find
otherwise known as Steph.
I actually got that video from the Teletubbies of the
Teletubbies.
iPad. Actually, it goes, it's like Dipsy, Lala,
and Jeff.
Jeff. Jeff.
Teletubbies. Tinky Winky. Tinky Winky. Dipsy. Lala.
Lala.
Jeff.
Now that's the sign of a good night out. Oh yes. Crusaders and guns. Yeah, man. So after yet another cracking night out with Mr. Dernan and his newly acquired close protection team, here's my lovely new pack, a Berghaus Cyclops 2 Vulcan in olive green. It's an absolute cracker of a bag, this. Material feels nice and tough. Weight wise, probably a little bit lighter than an issue Bergen, but with a level of comfort they just don't offer. The padding on the panel, the straps and the hip belt is pretty heavy duty. They've certainly made sure that heavier loads are going to be manageable in comfort. Double lifting straps, there's the addition of a front one here as well as the back one like you get on the issue Bergens. All the usual attachment points as well as a couple of interesting new ones, I'm sure they'll come in handy. And the side pouches do the usual conversion into either a single or a double day sack with straps. Going back to side pouches instead of bladders like my old pack had has meant a bit of a change in the way I put my load together. Bladders are a great way to carry water, but if I'm honest I very rarely drank from the tubes and mainly pour water from the filler cap anyway, so changing to these simpler and more practical 2 litre bottles isn't actually much of a change for me at all. 2 litre capacity with a wide mouth opening and solid stainless steel, so at a push you can even boil water straight on the fire. Weight wise they're not that much different. It's 616 grams for a bladder and pouch. And 388 grams for a bottle, so a small saving of 228 grams for the swap. I'm not a gram Nazi by any means, but it is useful. Although I've lost the convenience of an inside lid compartment and a utility pouch like on my old PLCE pack, I've gained extra side space and the added bonus of having an optional split main compartment. You can leave the gator open like that for a larger load, or seal it up completely to separate your kit. Also, by decompressing some of the kit that was stored in the main compartment out to the sides, packing away at the end of a trip won't be quite so much of a squeeze. Now I've got some extra literage though, I'll just have to fight the urge to cram more in.
Bon appétit.
So in that separated section of the main compartment, I've got shelter sheet and bungees, sleep sheets, hammock chair, rock pegs, hammock, and in there is a droplet and a pack rack for round camp. That's my entire camp and shelter setup, all in that one bottom compartment. Pretty much all that's going in the main compartment is my sleeping bag in a bergen liner, and that means I can do away with the compression sack. It don't really serve any purpose, and it's just more weight to carry. Inflatable pillow, inflatable mattress, and rations, and that is pretty much all that's going in there. So in one of the side pouches I've got multi-fuel stove and billies, one of the water bottles, brew kit, mug, and microfiber towel. And the other one, first aid kit. The other bottle, utility or possibles kit, mess fuel, and wash kit. And finally, in the top pouch, first up, permissions letters for hunting and shooting. If a member of the public was to see me in the woods with knives or rifles and overreact and call the police, this could help. Hatchet for a bit of wood prep. Miscellaneous tools, folding saw, belt knife, sharpening stone, leatherman, that sort of thing. And the all-important head torch. And there you have it, all ready for its first trip to the woods. Yeah, that is instantly very comfortable. To quote Steph, he said it's like wearing a sofa, and he's not wrong. Yeah, that's nice. Very comfy. Having said that, there's a little project that I've been wanting to have a go at that might just make things a little bit easier. See what you think. Sometimes I stumble across the perfect thing for a project I'd like to build. I don't know what this is, probably a piece of exercise equipment of some sort, but it looks like the ideal frame for a bicycle bergen carrier, if you ask me. Once I've got the foundation component, I start visualising the finished article and thinking about what I've got already and what I need to find. At first glance, I think I'll need some composite board for the base and the back, a few stripped down parts and the push button quick release wheels and axle from a pram frame, a couple of bits from a multi-gym, an old post mount for my daughter's bike carrier, and finally a quick release bicycle clip. I have a feeling that should do it, but no doubt I'll add and subtract bits as the project progresses. Let's get started then. I need to reclaim the axle now, so take the quick release wheels off. Just push the button, slide off. Very handy system. And drill out all the rivets to remove the plastic housing. And then these bits just slide off to leave you with a nice shiny axle. Lovely jubbly. So here's my slight engineering problem. The wheels are on the inside of the frame and have to be on the outside. So here's the plan. I'm going to take these bolts out and widen these holes and have the axle going through the two, and the wheels will connect to the axles on the outside then. But obviously that means, do it from that side, it means that the axle's too short. So what I'm going to do is cut that in half, spread them apart and bolt in a spacer bar. I've got to resize it obviously to make the axle wider, and then it will sit like that, but obviously with this wheel on the other side. Right then, after quite a bit of off-camera fiddling about, I've got the wheels and the frame together, and quite by accident I found out one of these frame bars that I reclaimed is the exact right size. There's a couple of mil either end, I think, a bit of jiggling there, but I'm going to put a washer between the wheel and the frame just so it spins a bit freer, because there's a little bit of clog in there. But yeah, that's the result, pleased with that. Because this tube's round and this is oval, they don't quite fit together, so I'm going to stick this in a vise, the first 6 inches each side, and give it a little squeeze so it slips over, and then on each side I'll have 3 bolts holding it in place, 1, 2 and 3. It's literally a millimetre too narrow or so it doesn't need much. You certainly don't want to crack it, just a little squeeze, just to round it off a little tiny bit more. On both sides, because this tube is just the perfect length. Couldn't believe that. It's all about a result. I do love using scrap. Sometimes it's a nightmare, but sometimes it's just the perfect thing that you need that otherwise would have got thrown away. So I'm just finalising that piece of tube for the axle, and Funky Prepper's parachute ring parts come to the rescue again. I need a little spacer to bring the bearings of the wheel away from the first tube of the frame, and that does the perfect job. Thanks, Darren. I'm also making an anti-vibration washer to go between the 2 poles from one of these push fit caps. There used to be one between when there was just a bolt there, but obviously it's a lot bigger now, this tube, so I've had to make one. Basically all I've done is Stanley bladed that off, and then with one of these lever punch things I've just nibbled the inside out until it's big enough to fit over there, but obviously between the 2 there. And there it is in place with the parachute ring spacer, and then the wheel just goes into place to finish it off. Thankfully the frame splits in half at the bottom and at the top, and that's going to make putting the axle extender in a lot easier. Just screw these last 2 retainers in. All that remains to do then is drill out the holes for the securing nuts and bolts and fit them. The bolt side were too long, so just one last thing to do, zip them off. And there's your basic frame and wheels, ready for the next stage. I've got a few other crucial components to fit to get the trailer up to speed. Side brackets from the pram, which along with my new black board will give the frame rigidity and strength. Bungee rings for securing the load. Feet to stand the trailer up on when it's not hitched to the bike. And reflectors for a bit of road safety at night. Couldn't find any curvy washers, so I'll have to make my own. Lovely jubbly. Bending and cutting out the first stage of the panel has involved a lot of swearing, so I'm not going to put that in the video. You can use your imaginations on that one. But now I've got the base cut to shape and roughly in position, I'm going to mark up the back and cut that out, and then we'll get on with some riveting. Well, that works out better than I hoped. Don't you just love power tools? The majority of the base is going to get fixed on with rivets, but just here where there's a bend in the tube, I'm going to use a nut bolt and washer like this to draw it up tight. Clear a little bit of the protective film away first. trimming around the top here to bring it in line with the tube. Just get a jigsaw on that, trim that last bit off, and then I'm going to cut out a piece here for the trailer linkage assembly to go in. Very sharp edge, it's like razor when you cut this stuff, so you've got to smooth it off if you use this. That's much better. Good old reliable dinner plate. Cut out marked up. One pilot hole for the jigsaw. Now I've cut this section out, I need to put a couple of rivets just on the corners here for reinforcement. Just tighten up the last couple of nuts, make it rattle free. And now for the moment of truth. The non-black parts will be sprayed black. I'll mask it up again, but I just want to see what it looks like without the film on it. So it's a semi-moment of truth. Oh yes, so the bungee ring's just going on. So the plan is that most of the attachment will be done via the sidebars, but the point of putting the rings in is just to give you more options configuration wise. There's a total of 4 of these extra rings now, so that should cover most kit combinations and loadouts. Time for a little bit of foot action. The reason for these feet is just to keep that leading edge there out of the rain and the dirt when the trailer's disconnected from the bike. I'm going to mount one on that corner there and one on the opposite corner. Just a little mark so I get them both the same level. I'll measure from the bottom to there on that side and then I'll have them in the same position, and a little mark for the bolt hole that I need to drill. And now I've measured up from the bottom of the poles the same length. The little mark there helps me position the second bolt. And there you have the feet attached. Gives you a good couple of inches clearance off the ground. Keeps your trailer out of the dirt. That's the trailer itself built, but if I wanted to carry a bergen to the woods for me behind a bike, it's going to need a towing assembly. I've also got to attach this swivel and tilt dolly to the trailer, fit this bracket to the seat post of the bike, and link the two with a quick release clip. Nice. That'll do. Time for a bit of bicycle and trailer linkage test fitting. Apart from putting in a strengthening bolt and obviously drilling the holes that make them work together, the only change I've made is to take off the metal washers from the quick release clip and substitute them for nylon ones in here, just for a bit of smoothness and movement once it's assembled. On the trailer side of the linkage, I'm using a cut down one of these bike brackets with an extender bar. There's going to be spacers in here to give it a bit of stability, and the dolly is going to be mounted to this end. That will be gone. The reason I'm not using the bar in its entirety and I've had to cut it down is because it works fine for the seat post, but obviously on the trailer the bar goes that way, so I've got to put it in this plane, which would put that bend going off to the left or right, which would make it useless for the job. So I'm going to stick that extender on, as I say, and then that dolly will be bolted onto there via a nut and bolt set. So this bit needs to come off. Yes, another usable part. Bit trailer arm assembly, main bolt, locking washer, goes through the top of the dolly, separating washer, and the trailer arm extension. Locking washer and a nut. Just for a bit of added security because it's a high stress moving part. Another locking washer and another nut. And there you have it, nice and solid. You thought I was building a bike trailer, didn't you? That's the Terminator's left leg, that is. last little check on positioning to ensure there's enough clearance on the back wheel and the mudguard, and double check that the linkage is going to work the way I hope. I suspect that because of all the spacer nuts on this assembly it's going to take a while, so I'll get back to you when it's done. As I suspected, a fiddly nightmare, which thankfully you didn't have to join me for. The final crank up, and then that is the towing assembly built. All I have to do then is spray it up and fit it. Give it a good wipe down with meths as a solvent, just to get all the grease and any dirt that might be left on there. Ready for the spray up. Whoops, missed one. Right, let's see how this looks. It's a bit more stealthy. Time to give the trailer frame the same treatment. All masked up, ready for the good part. So there's the first coat. I'm going to give it a second and a full 24 hours to harden, and then comes the final spray stage, peeling all this off. Can't wait to see what that looks like finished. Final little going over with meths just to get the masking tape glue off, any last little bits of residue, and I think we're all done. And there you have the finished spray job after a demask and a bit of a clean up. It's finally time to attach the towing linkage. I'm fitting the bike bracket first because it's a fixed part. It pretty much only fits on one way. So I'm going to gauge the position of everything else from that once it's in place. It's very simple, just 4 Allen bolts to tighten up and then it's onto the trailer arm. It's pretty easy to fit compared to the rest of the project. Just 4 bolts and then pretty much ready to go. And there you have it, one bicycle bracket ready for towing a trailer. Just a little protection for the frame before the bracket goes on. Good old gaffer tape. And now at long last I can fit the finished trailer on to the trailer. What I'm going to do to give me another option in case the trailer is not connected to the bike is create a drag handle out of a curved piece of the remaining pram frame. There's 2 pieces of this, one slightly damaged, so I'm going to pop the end cap out, recycle that bit and put the end cap in the other end of this one so it's double-ended. And then what I'll need to do is obviously spray it black to match, but I need to drill that hole all the way through to there so the quick release goes through the swivel and tilt dolly, and put on a foam pad as a drag handle. Nice easy job to finish it off. Just put an end cap in each end. There's the hole drilled for the quick release into the dolly, and just put a foam pad on for a grip, and there you have it, one drag handle. And there it is fitted, still with a decent range of movement and nice and solid. We're going to attach a couple of these snap reflectors for a bit of road safety at night to make either the trailer more visible if it's empty, or attached to any load I might be carrying. Right, time for a weigh-in. There's at least one person I can think of that wants to know how much extra weight is coming on his next trip. Let's see what all those nuts and bolts weigh. Steady her up. Right, we've got about 19 pounds or 8.5 kilos. So, big metal trailer, big extra lump, but I'm glad I'm not carrying it on my back. It's all rolling weight, so I guess the test will be to actually get it out and see what it's like getting towed behind a bike. Let's do that then, shall we? Right, time for Bergen's first test fitting of the trailer. Moment of truth to see if all that hard work's gone to waste and I've got the sizes wrong. That looks alright. There you go. Looks like a winner to me. Da, 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 da. Nice. It's good on the turns. The tone assembly seems to work well. It's nice and smooth as it tracks behind the bike. Turns out that an added build your own bike trailer bonus is that it makes it self-supporting. That just makes me smile every time. Well, that's turned out way better than I hoped. As far as the weight goes, being on wheels makes it pretty much unnoticeable. Having said that, I'm sure you'd notice it on steep hills. But as far as today's test goes, I think it's a thumbs up. I'm really pleased with that. I guess the real proof of the pudding will be a proper field test of the woods though, so stay tuned for a nice winter camp. Thanks for watching everyone. Hope you enjoyed the bergen review and the trailer build, and obviously a massive thank you again to Steph, once again, for the pack that inspired the project. See you soon.
What's the use of worrying? It never seems worthwhile. So take up your troubles in your own